Hey guys, that Guernsey man, or TGM for short. I have seen so many people talking about what's on their iPhone or Android phone, so I thought that I would do the same thing. So here we go, let me show you how I've set my phone up and maybe give you an idea or two. So as you can see, I have the Sony Xperia Z2 currently. A great Android phone, and it's the best phone I've ever owned, and it's the first Android phone I've ever owned. I mostly bought it because of the amazing hardware. You can see that with the metal all around and the glass sandwich design, and it is a really good looking and feeling device. Not only that, it has amazing front-facing speakers, maybe not quite as good as HDC quality, but still really good. And the battery life and the camera are also amazing. I was also considering going for a G3, LG G3, which is a very similar price, but I eventually went for this, and I think I made the right decision, but it was a very tough one. I'll show you some of my older phones actually. I previously had a Nokia 1101, which is an amazing little phone. It's still an absolute beast, as I'm sure you can tell, but this one has survived so many tumbles and falls. It's really unreal, but it still works perfectly and the battery life beats anything else that I have. And then I owned an iPhone 4, which doesn't work currently, so I haven't brought it to uni with me. But I had to replace that with this, which is a Nokia Lumia 800, which is still a very solid and smooth running Windows phone. Unfortunately, it still runs Windows Phone 7.8. If it updated, I probably would still be using it though. So unfortunately, I'm not using this anymore. So I bought the Z2 a few weeks back, and I've just been breaking into it and discovering its quirks. And so far, I've actually been really enjoying to use it. So, let's get started. This is my home screen. It simply has the Xperia clock widget at the top there, and the Battery Reborn widget 2015 edition there. So to the left, the next home screen, I keep my Google Keep widget and my calendar widget, so I can see my notes simply and so I can see my next events, and I don't usually have to enter those apps at all, which is really handy. So on the bottom two rows here, I have Gmail, which is my email app of choice, followed by Chrome, Drive and Google Maps. I've been trying to get used to some more Google services. And then to the next row I have WordPress, whenever I feel like blogging a bit. And then my current calendar app, which is Sunrise. Now Sunrise is a very useful app to sync your Apple calendar with your Google calendar, and then you can have all your calendars together on all your devices, and I really like it. The Keep app itself, even though I've got the widget just up there, and then I've got Evernote there, which is again useful to keep on all my devices. Okay, over to the next screen. This one is very bare indeed, as I'm sure you can see. I'm not quite sure what to put here yet, but I really like the clock positioning. I don't know if that's just me, but I really like that. So maybe someone can suggest what to put on this screen here. To the right of the middle is my social media hub, as I'm sure you can tell. My Twitter feed takes up most of the screen. There we go. There's all my Twitter feed right there. But below that, I have Facebook, of course, and then Twitter, just the standard up, although this Twitter widget doesn't seem to work, the official one, so I found another one, and this one is called Tweetcaster, which seems to work well, so I'm enjoying that. Tumblr I've got there for the occasional times where I actually use it, and then of course Instagram next to it. And then below are the 4 apps that I would usually have in my dock if I had the dock enabled. So I've got the phone dialer, of course, and then the Facebook Messenger, the Google Messenger as my standard SMS app, which I'm enjoying, and then my device settings, which I find are always handy to have nearby. One thing I actually really like are how similarly my productivity page there and my social media page are set up. They are quite similar, as you can see. They kind of mirror each other with the 2 rows of apps at the bottom there and the widgets up top. So that's something I really enjoy. So one last swipe to the left, to the right even, brings me to my final homepage. So this one is a bit of a mess at the moment, but I've got the clock at the top there and with a flashlight widget next to it, as you can tell there. And then you can turn it off again like that. And then below that is my Bible verse for the day, as you can tell from that. And then at the bottom there is my Walkman widget there. And then I've got a row of apps in the middle there. So these are just apps I'm trying out at the moment. They might change over time. So here we go. This is a great app to the left there. That is If This, Then That. Great app which helps to automate various processes and events. So, for example, if I posted a tweet, I can send that tweet automatically to Tumblr, and so on. I don't know if I've explained that very well, but that's definitely an app that you should try out if you haven't already. Then next to that, I have a toggle for Greenify. If you ever heard of Greenify, it's a great app that turns off apps in the background so they don't drain the battery when the phone is on standby. So, which I think things like Instagram and Facebook have a habit of doing. So next I have the standard Walkman app, which I don't really need as I've got this toggle down here, but I quite like having it there anyway. And then next to that I've just got the Calculator app. As you can see, especially on my social media page, I like everything to be fairly blue. I've got a bit of a blue theme going on. However, I'm largely using the Moonshine icon pack. However, I also have the rounded up icon pack installed too. And Nova Launcher, which I'm currently using, came with fairly stock-like icons as well. And of course, Sony have a few icons for their own apps as well. So that is all my home screens. So now onto the software itself, I guess. So the Z2 comes with Sony's own custom skin over Android 4.4.4 KitKat. And I really quite liked it, but I prefer my device to look fairly like stock Android, which the Xperia skin doesn't really. And I also really wanted to customise it as much as I possibly can without rooting my device. And that's why I chose Nova Launcher, and which is about the most customisable launcher out there that can also look stock if you wanted it to. In fact, I think the only things that I haven't been able to customise, which I wish I could, is the notification shade up here. This is still very similar to the Xperia, and the navigation controls down bottom here, as you can see there. I wish they looked a bit more stock, but I'm stuck with the Xperia ones until I decide to root my device, if I decide to root my device. As you can see, I'm using the Nexus live wallpaper. I don't always use a live wallpaper. I find that again will drain the battery a little bit, but I thought it really looked good for this demo, so I used that, and I am really enjoying that. I think it looks really good. With Nova, I was able to remove the status bar up the top and also remove the dock and give my phone a really, really clean look. And I am enjoying that a lot too. The Xperia already came with a double tap to wake feature out of the box. However, I was also able to add a double tap to sleep functionality, which is really handy, and that comes from Nova and also another app called Screen Off and Lock. However, to get that I did have to pay for the Prime version of Nova Launcher. However, that unlocks all of the gestures controls for me, so that was really handy. So not only have I enabled double tap to wake, but I've also got a swipe down to bring down the notification shade, like that, so I don't have to reach the top of the screen like this every single time. I can just swipe down like that. That's very handy if I'm just using it one-handed. And then a swipe up will bring me to my app drawer. Very handy, as of course I removed the app drawer button when I removed the dock. And then if I swipe up with 2 fingers, that brings me to Nova settings. And then if I rotate counterclockwise, I can bring back my status bar there. So you can see at the top, my status bar has reappeared. That's very cool to do. And then a clockwise motion will bring up my dock again. So now this looks fairly stock. So I can have that, but I actually quite like it without. So I'm going to turn those off. So now you've seen all of those, I will just go through my app drawer and so you can see what I've got installed.